Welcome to PYOB number 3. This is 6. I only need one. 3. That's the one. Apologies that this is coming in so late. I have been very, very busy. I'll just put on screen a couple of the gigs that I've been doing. It has been a crazy last 6 weeks or so, and no signs of it letting up, at least for now, which is a good thing. But we're not here to talk about my problems. We're here to listen to your bass lines. As you know, I give you a backing track and you guys record your own bass lines, and then I watch them and give you feedback. Or not, if you don't want it. That's okay too. Let's go ahead and just jump into our first one here. First one comes from, of course, my dear friend Hilberto, who has submitted every time so far, and I really appreciate that. Just as a reminder, Hilberto is primarily a guitar player, so I actually super love that he submits for these. Kind of gives us a very different perspective on what you can do. Hilberto says, been trying to improve my in-the-pocketness, also trying to improve my bass player lingo. He's getting there. My approach to these tracks has been to immediately download, grab my bass and guitar, and just jam with the track for a couple of minutes and then hit record. Usually done in 15 to 30 minutes, which is how everybody should be doing this. I don't feel like anybody should be spending a ton of time on these. We want to just see where you're at and what's the first good idea you come up with. So I like what you're doing here. Otherwise, I know I'll sit on it for weeks and not finish, as life has a tendency of getting in the way of fun. Exactly. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. Let's open this up and see what Hilberto did. Yeah! Good alternate picking there. That's great. Fucking sick, dude. Love that. All right, things to appreciate in this picture. The family photo that's Simpsonified. Fantastic. Little guitar reference in there. Your picking is really, really solid. Probably just transferring that skill over from guitar, obviously. I would also say that your pocket is improved, even just over the last submission from last month. And this was almost a month ago because you submitted this very soon after I posted it. Probably the one big piece of feedback I would give you is to maybe mix in some of the dry signal from your bass so that it doesn't lose the low end. You've got a cool distortion sound going on here, but it doesn't have quite enough beef. So get a little bit more of the low end happening there. Usually just mix in some of the dry signal. If you can do a mix on the distortion pedal itself, that might be the way to go. But really great playing all around, as always. Thank you for always submitting here, and I look forward to seeing you next month. All right, let's look at our next submission from Darius Grimmel, who is back again. 3 for 3. We've got some long-time submitters in here. I love that. Hey, Andrew, at first I wanted to pass on this one because I already submitted twice. I wanted to give other people room, but since this one went metal, I couldn't help myself. Just as an aside to everybody, just submit. I'm not getting that many submissions, so I've got time to go through them all, and I'm happy to see people come back month after month. This is fantastic. So don't ever second guess yourself. Just submit. Why not?
Do it!
Just a short one this time, but honestly, I did not have more ideas. Not a problem with that at all. I do have one specific question, though. How, if at all, do you use the palm of your right hand to stop the low D from ringing out when those fast string skipping comes up? I used my fretting fingers here, but I thought there has to be a way to do this with the right hand, but I could only perform it very slow. Just wanted to ask how you do it to avoid practicing into a dead end. Best regards. That is a great question. All right, let's check this out. Sick. Love the tone. These little touches are perfect. Oh my God. That was so cool. I got to listen to that again. Wow, that's great. All right, so as far as your question on muting, I feel like you did really good. I didn't hear any problems there. So with muting, I try and leverage every other part of my hand. I don't feel like I do a whole lot of muting with my right hand. A lot of the muting that I'm doing, just as I'm like futzing around with this, is using my pointer finger, because I'm gonna mute that string and then just push the fleshy bit a little bit into the E string, so that does. And that is a very like small movement, because normally you're gonna be like fretting. Oh man, you can't even see this probably. Normally you're gonna be like fretting like just here to get the note, but like moving it so that your finger touches that other string. I feel like that's probably the best piece of advice I could offer there. But based on your submission, though, I don't think I need to be giving you much advice at all. Like, that was really solid all the way through. And, yeah, great job. Always love when you submit, so I'll be looking forward to hearing what you come up with next month. Speaking of which, if you're wondering where next month is going to go, I have something kind of special and different and interesting, so stick around to the end of the video and we'll talk about it. Why are there pregnant Minecraft people on... What the fuck? All right, our next submission comes from Mike Enemy. Oh, no. That's Mike Emman. Oh, geez. Woo! I thought we were gonna have to fight here. Mike Emman says, "Thanks for hosting this challenge. I've been playing bass since early 2025, so very much a beginner and figuring my way around music." Well, props to you for submitting. Like, I don't think I would have been brave enough to put myself on the internet if within the first year of my playing, so kudos to you. This challenge is a motivating way to engage with making music as I continue to learn. Fantastic. I am aware that there is likely a lot wrong with this submission. I'm not entirely convinced the audio is synced to the video as well as it might be, and I fall behind the beat a number of times. I would appreciate any feedback you have, though, on my technique and the way I'm using the bass. I am following the Beginner to Badass course online, so no tutor to talk about these things. Any advice and encouragement is welcome. Well, Mike, you're in the right spot. Hopefully we'll have some feedback for you. That is the one thing. I do love Josh, and I love the course that he's made, and even as a non-beginner, I still watch most of his videos because I find them interesting. But the one big downside to online learning is you don't get personalized feedback, which is what we're doing here. So let's pull up your video here and see what you got going on. Okay, I like what your right hand's doing. I think we'll talk about your left hand a little bit, though. Right on. Thank you so much for submitting. We've got a little bit to talk about for sure, but I think the first thing that I would say, we'll just bounce back here. Get out of here, suggested videos. What your plucking hand is doing looks really good. I don't think I would change a thing about that. And I'm not going to comment too much on the timing. I know you said that some like the video and the audio weren't in sync. I have that problem sometimes too, so we're not going to worry about the timing stuff there. But I do like what your right hand looks like from here. It looks like you've got a good, comfortable, relaxed plucking hand. Just want to tighten that up and make sure that your rhythms are where they're supposed to be, which is something you will just learn in time. The big thing I will say is let's talk about your right hand for a second. So it looks like you're using that open string to play the D, which is totally fine. I probably would prefer to fret the 5th fret on the A string, so you can do those kinds of things. But the other thing that it looks like you're anchoring your thumb and then like spreading out. So instead of your hand just gliding across the fretboard, your thumb is staying put while the front of your hand is moving around. That's not great because that's obviously going to stretch you out in places where you don't want it to go. So instead, what you want to do is I kind of imagine like you're holding like a tennis ball on your fingertips, and that's kind of the sort of idea that you want to have with your neck. Yeah, so the big thing that you want to have is just like a consistent hand position. I'm seeing you like with your thumb all the way up on the back of the neck. So rather than like gripping the bass with your palm against the wood, you want it to stay all on your fingertips. And your thumb needs to come with the rest of your hand, because the last thing you want to do is try and make that slide and keeping your thumb planted where it's at. So stay lightly on your fingertips and shift your whole hand around wherever it needs to go to hit the notes that you need. It actually takes so little pressure to fret a note to where it won't buzz. And sometimes I'll take my thumb like completely off here, and just finding that like minimum amount of pressure that you have to push to get the string to go down on the fret, and making sure that you're going right on top of the fret wire. You don't want to be here like where the dot is. You want to be right over top of the metal bits. And you can see like I have my thumb completely out here, and I'm just... Your right hand looks comfortable and like what it's supposed to be doing, but your fretting hand just looks like you're not quite sure what to do with it, and I think that those tips will help you out. But thank you so much for submitting, Mike. It was really, really great to see you play, and I hope that feedback ends up being helpful for you, and I hope that you'll come back for another PYOB in the future. All right, our next submission here comes from Emerson Munger. Here's my submission. It's short, simple, sloppy, and audio is not so great. I love it already. But it just seemed to work. Please critique and offer any and all advice. Let me know if this link doesn't work. I should probably be checking these before, but I don't. I want to be able to see these for the first time, just like you guys. So that's what we're doing. I think we're fine. I spoke too soon. Oh, love that. In unison with the guitars, that was clean. And again. Got the 5th octaves there. Good interval choices. And the octave slide. Love it. I like the rhythm that you've chosen here too. Leaving a little bit of space, locking in with the drummer. Oh, that was so fantastic. Very, very good. I especially like how clean you got those runs. The unison bits with the guitar, like flawless. That was really, really great. And I love that this is just like you set up your phone, you're playing your bass through whatever, and you've got the audio through whatever. We can tell what you're doing, and that's all that matters. These don't have to be professional by any means, and I really appreciate you doing this. Like you're just so locked in all over the place. Like your rhythm is fantastic. Really, really great playing. Thank you so much for submitting. That's really great. You lied to me, though, because right here you say short, simple, sloppy, and audio is not so great. But you know what? It was short, which is fine. I prefer short for these. Simple, not at all. Sloppy? No. I think you played that better than I would have. Killer submission, man. Thank you so much. That was really, really great. All right, our next submission comes from Mikhail. Oh no, I don't know how to say that. I'm gonna try. Here we go. I gotta get my gamer stance here though. Mahalachenko. That's what we're going with. As well as another sip of today's not sponsor, the Moscow Mule from Beehive Distilling. It's a mule in a can, which is perfect for my lazy ass. Mikhail says, I've been playing bass for 2 months, and this is an attempt to encourage new players to participate. Hey, I love that there's so many new players submitting for this. When you're learning stuff online or without a teacher, this kind of feedback is invaluable. So I really appreciate you stepping in here. This is really good for you, but I think this is great for everybody. Thank you. This is going to be great. Thank you for providing a platform. This experience made me appreciate the work you and other creators put into sound recording and videos even more. I appreciate that quite a lot. You guys don't know this, but there is a lot of work that goes into every video, even the bad ones. The crappy videos that I make were still a lot of work. So, Mikhail, I really appreciate you saying all that. Let's see your submission. Oh, a little bit of dissonance there. Not sure what's happening there. Cool chord. Okay, I think I kind of see what you're doing there. Okay. Okay. I think the more I hear it, the more I understand what you're doing there. Okay, the rhythm of that I totally get. Okay, cool. It took me a second to figure out what you're doing there. You've definitely dialed in a really good bass sound, and I think for 2 months, you're in a pretty damn good spot. I think some of the confusion that I had with some of the note choices that you had was purely just a rhythm thing. And actually, like, I've gone through and kind of like tried to figure out exactly what you were doing. And as I'm trying to play it, I get where your head is at, and it's just almost there. Just need to lock down that rhythm a little bit more, and I think that those will all work. It's like dissonant, but in a really good way. And I really appreciate you stepping outside of the box there for that. That's cool. That's really cool. You're in a really, really good spot for only being 2 months in. And I think that you're well on your way. I think if you can just tighten up the rhythm just a little bit, like... So one little tip with some of those double stops that you're doing is using like the inside of your pointer finger to mute the middle note. So we've got this octave bit here, and I'm using this part of the inside of my pointer finger so that middle finger or that middle string doesn't ring out, so I can just kind of like hit that with my picking hand. I think it's even more critical for this upper one where you're doing that 7th hammer on. Anyway, I don't know if I demonstrated or explained it that well, but I really do like your note choices. I think you've got a really creative take on this. Just need to tighten up the rhythm of that, and that's really what's gonna like make that all come together. But really impressive stuff for only being 2 months in. I think you've got a very bright future on the bass guitar ahead of you, and I hope that you'll submit again sometime in the future for another PYOB. Would really like to see where you're at in just a couple months from now. All right, let's look at our final submission for today. This one comes from Paul Joseph. I don't think I ever said that's right. Hang on. Oh, you're going to tell me how to do it down here. Like that. First of all, I love the PYOB challenges. It's just so much fun. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I enjoy it too. Because you struggled with the pronunciation of my last name last time, think of it as Diviuk. 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 It's closest you can write in English. Something you should know about me, just you, the royal you, all of you. I am monolingual as fuck. I speak English, and that is it. I feel like I do okay in English, but I don't know anything about any other language. It's the very typical American experience. It's not great. I wish I spoke more languages, but that's where we're at. So I appreciate the clarification. And also, last time you were impressed with my studio room, so this time I made a 360-degree video so you can look around. Whoa! I messed up the export a bit, and now the rotation is a bit wonky, but I think it works so far. And yes, the room is not fully set up yet. You can see the absorbers / acoustic treatments in the corners, but I still need to mount them on the walls and ceiling, do proper cable runs, etc. Every studio I've ever known is a constant work in progress until the day that they move out into a different one. So you are totally good. I will check that out. The track this time wasn't easy for me to find something to play, not my kind of music. So I did something pretty simple and just doubled the guitars, but I still had a lot of fun playing it. Not super tight or super consistent, but I'd say good enough. So what do you think? Well, Paul, I really do appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's really good to be more well-rounded in the kinds of music that we take in and the kinds of music that we play. I think it just makes us a more interesting player, because the real sauce these days, I think, when it comes to like putting out original music, it's not doing something like that has already existed. It's by combining other things that have never been put in a combination before. So reaching across into this metal genre, which is something that you say you don't do much, is super healthy as a bass player. And I really appreciate you taking a stab at it. So let's check out what you got. Oh, that tone is nasty. Great bass face. Oh, I like the band. The bands are great. Clean. What are you talking about? This is not your kind of music. You're a natural. Ooh, those little like micro rests there. I like those. gonna hear the bass all by itself. Ugh, my nose is itchy. Paul, that was so great. That was so great. I never in a million years would have guessed that you didn't really play metal, because that was really fantastic. I don't think you give yourself enough credit. You say not super tight or super consistent, but have you seen what I put out? Like, I'm just saying, dude. Oh, I totally missed this PS. Fun fact, I'm wearing an AMP t-shirt in this video, but that's because one of my bands is called AMP Blues Band. I did not even see that. Hang on. Okay, I wouldn't have noticed it because it's kind of small there, but that's fun. Really, really brutal tone. I know a lot of people are going to ask about this because it comes up on the bass subreddit constantly, this little fret wrap that you've got up in here. And that is actually a good call, because when you're dealing with such high gain distortions like this, any overtones or ringing out can really muddy things up and just make everything sound terrible. But what this fret wrap does is it basically just helps you mute. A lot of people will say that it's like a crutch or a cheat, but honestly, I feel like it's totally fair game. I don't see it that way at all. If it helps you to sound better, then that's ultimately all that really matters, right? Right? And I can't help but just look around this room and see all the other cool stuff here. Man, you've got such a cool wall of amps. But is this the monomyth I see on your desk? Is that the pedal we're hearing? If so, I'm kind of regretting selling it, because that sounded really cool. Ooh, and the link to your 360 video. Oh my God! Look! We can see you tracking stuff in real time. That is very cool. I will leave a link to that down below, because that is something that I think a lot of people would be interested in. Yeah, for that being outside of your comfort zone, I am very impressed. That was very, very good. And the 360 video is actually cool. I had no idea that that was a thing that you could do on YouTube. So today I learned something new. Should I get a 360 camera? No. I'm done buying gear, because I have no money. I have no money at all. Ooh, so let's talk about next month's PYOB, which I will have posted in my Patreon post, of course, but I'll give you a little bit of details here. So I have this friend, and his name is Ford Thunder Erickson, and he's got a band called Tarantula Cat. A couple of years ago, he sent me a track over, and I recorded bass for it, sent it back, and then I put out a video on this channel with it, and nobody watched it. And that is totally fine. I get it. But recently he sent me a second track to do bass for, and what I thought would be interesting for this upcoming PYOB is to give that same track to you guys, the one that I recorded on. So the track that you're going to get is just drums and guitar. There's not going to be a metronome. There is no more information about it than that, because this is the same situation that I was in before we started recording this, and I'm very curious to see what you guys do with it. This challenge is not for the faint of heart. This is probably going to be the most difficult PYOB track that I've ever put out there. So if you find that there is just absolutely no way that you can play this, maybe just find like one section and try that, because some sections are going to be more difficult than others, but it changes very quickly and very randomly, because this is kind of like a math rock track. If you want to get a good idea of it, I'll have the previous track that we did. It was called Camping is Fun. I'll put that in the description, so it'll kind of give you an idea of the style of music that we're doing. And then I'll just let you guys go nuts. Again, don't feel like you need to do the whole track if you just like a particular section of it, or just find that like some of it's too difficult for you to play, or you just don't have any ideas. No problem at all. Just pick your favorite section of it and just do that. Very curious to see what you guys will do with this one, because it's a weird track, but I think you'll like it. Anyway, that is about it for me this time. Thank you so much for watching PYOBs, and to everybody who participated this month. I hope you will all come back for this next one. It's going to be a doozy, and I hope that more of you watching this will have the chance to participate this time around too. That's all for now. AMP!